Episode 52 was with Talii.
She just released her new single a couple weeks ago called Good to Be Bad, which Billboard debuted, and she was named Artist to Watch by SoundCloud.
Check out our YouTube and Facebook at Bringing It Backwards, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Bringing Back Pod.
Follow us, please.
We're Bringing It Backwards with Talii.
How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm good.
Are you in quarantine?
Yeah. They just initiated the whole thing for Florida, so.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we're in San Diego, so we've been kind of stuck in
you
this
guys
for a
have
while.
been on that for a bit.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Did you grow up in Orlando? Are you from Orlando?
Yeah, born and raised in the area of Central Florida. Haven't left the whole life.
How is that? How is growing up there?
It's good. I actually really love it. It's a pretty chill, laid back state, and everyone's really nice. It's very similar to Talii actually, and San Diego area.
Oh, nice.
We got the beaches. Everyone's pretty laid back and chill. It's really nice out here.
And is there a lot of music venues and stuff, like places you could get out and play?
Yeah, there is a lot. We actually have a pretty good music scene in Central Florida and stuff. And there's a lot of venues around here that really love and support local and independent artists. So it's been great. I've been performing around here for a while, several years now.
Mm-hmm. How did you get into music originally?
I started doing music pretty much my whole life. My dad actually grew up doing R&B music, and he was in a R&B group with my uncle and some of his friends, and he played piano and had a radio career with one of the local radio stations in Orlando. So he's
wow.
very much into music, and my dad's side of the family, so many of my uncles, my aunts, my cousins all play music, and when we get together for family reunions, we'll all pick up an instrument and sing songs and play together and perform. So I grew up around music, and it's pretty much in my DNA.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started singing when I was, probably 2 or 3 years old, however old you get when you start singing little songs. And I would just learn, all the Disney movies and memorize all those songs and stuff. So I've been singing my whole life. It's been a very innate passion for me.
Yeah. So when your dad, did you ever get to see your dad perform? Did you go to his shows and stuff?
I never got to see my dad perform. He stopped doing their R&B group just kind of fell apart after I was still pretty young.
Okay.
So I never got to see him perform. But my uncle and my aunt, they still do a lot of performances. And my uncle plays every other night at a piano bar in one of the casinos in Vegas. So I've seen him perform, and a bunch of my cousins and my uncles and stuff, my aunts perform, but I haven't seen my dad, unfortunately. And he gets scared to perform on stage.
Oh,
so
really?
I don't know if he ever would. Yeah.
Your uncle must be really talented if he's doing every other day in Vegas in a casino. That's really cool.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's extremely talented piano player and singer. Seeing him perform is really great. He has an incredible stage presence, and it's just cool, to see your family members just be so good at something that you're also super passionate about, and it's something that we all share and have in common. And it's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah. Has he provided you any wisdom or knowledge or anything about the music industry?
Oh yeah, for sure. There was once before actually I kind of changed my my artist name to Talii. That's my nickname actually.
Oh, okay.
Growing up, it's my nickname that my aunt gave me when I was very, very little. So it was I went by my actual name Natalia for a while, but it doesn't really feel like me because everyone calls me Talii. All my friends, all my family. So right before I changed my name to Talii, I went out to Vegas to work with my uncle, and he produces as well. And I just took some songs that I wrote on guitar up there with him, and he really helped me a lot. It was day in and day out. We were in the studio working on these records, and he helped me so much just to find, just my strength when it comes to that, and really being in the studio nonstop and work ethic and that grind and everything like that. And I think being there and working with him I was there for about a week. It really gave me this jumpstart excitement for really starting my career and really taking it super seriously, because it was right before I met the team that I'm with now and everything. So yeah,
Okay.
it's definitely helped me a lot.
When you went out there to record with your uncle, were those like some of the songs that you've already put out?
It was actually a lot earlier, before any of the songs
So before Thickness
that
and
I
all
put
that
out
stuff
now.
came out?
Yeah, way before. I probably went out there maybe like 7 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was like right in the beginning when I had like all these songs that I wrote, and I was still finding my sound and
Sure.
the kind of music that I really wanted to put out there.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I had not ever really had a song that I recorded like on, that I wrote and recorded and built and like brought to life. I have never
Sure.
like done that up until that time. So that was like the first time really experiencing that.
Wow. Yeah. How many songs did you guys record?
I think we did like 5 or 6 songs.
Oh, wow. So
And
you had a
I
lot
don't
of
know if
material.
oh man, I have so many like things that I've written, and they're probably never going to go anywhere or see the light of day. But it's all process,
Yeah.
and taking the time to do all that stuff, it just helps to grow and involve me as an artist and my sound and stuff. So I'm super happy that I had that chance in that time.
Yeah, that's really cool. What was the first instrument you learned to play? You said you were singing at like 3 years old. You were talking about guitar. Was that your first instrument?
My first instrument actually was piano.
Oh.
I started learning piano when I was 6 years old, and I did lessons until I was about 12 or 13.
Okay.
So I did like classical trained piano for about 6 years, and I ended up like stopping going to lessons because I was a kid, and like at that time I had to wake up at like 4 or 5 in the morning to go to lessons before I had school, and I was just like, yeah, I would cry in the morning, like I was so miserable, I didn't want to do it anymore. But I'm super thankful that I had the 6 years of learning it, because I love the piano. It was my first love when it came to like like the actual like music, and like I learned so much about history of music and everything. And classical music has been something I've been exposed to since I was a kid, because my mom really likes it. So it was cool to like learn all that stuff. And as I got older, I now was able to write with the piano and make my own songs.
Yeah, because the piano's
like,
essentially
awesome.
like a whole band. I mean, you could play everything. I always say that's my biggest regret, is my dad and my sister could play piano really well, and my sister's younger than me, and I'm like, I'm going to play guitar, and everyone can play guitar, and I really wish I would have sat down and learned how to play piano.
Yeah, it definitely is like, I'm glad that I took the time to do the lessons, because it's hard to pick up piano like on your own,
Yeah, you
and
definitely need a teacher.
I had to I had to teach myself how to play guitar. I never did like guitar lessons or anything. I just learned off of YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
just watching
I just taught
people
myself,
play?
like,
Were you just trying to do like
stuff?
That's cool.
Yeah, because I couldn't bring my piano with me everywhere, or like upstairs when it's like late in the night and I want to like write something. I had like a not baby grand, but it was like a up against the wall, like smaller kind of piano thing. And I didn't have a keyboard for years, so it was like hard for me to be able to write whenever I wanted. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna learn guitar. And my sister taught herself guitar from YouTube.
Wow.
And she was like, got so good so fast. I'm like, how did you do this? How do you learn how to play guitar? So she showed me like the different chords on YouTube that she watched. And after, a few weeks to a couple months of like practicing and getting over the painful fingers and stuff.
Yeah, the calluses that build up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was the worst. When I first started feeling that, I'm like, how do people play guitar?
I know.
This is painful.
It takes
I don't understand.
years for your fingertips to like the nerve endings to just die out.
Yeah. Literally, I was like, this is so difficult. I almost gave up, but I'm glad I stuck through it, because now I know enough chords to be able to like play some, cover songs and make my own music. So I can't do fancy stuff, but it's good enough for me.
So you could play piano and guitar. Do you play any other instruments?
Nope, that's about it. I tried the drums because my sister is like insane at drumming.
Is she? So she must be a pretty talented musician if she can play guitar and drums then too.
Yeah, it's funny because she doesn't pursue music like that. but she's very talented. She can pick something up and become an expert at it in such a quick amount of time. It's wild. But she grew up doing the drums in like high school and stuff. And she was on the drum line. She's like one of the only females on the drum line.
Wow, that's cool.
And she's killer at it. So I tried once, and I'm like, nope, can't do that. I can't get my hands to move that way and my feet at the same time.
Sure, yeah, it's that one's confusing. Have you ever jammed with your sister? Like, has she ever played with you at shows and stuff?
No, I wanted her to. I've like asked her so many times, like, will you just play the drums with me, or just for a cover or something, you know? But she gets like really nervous and shy. So she hasn't done it yet, but we've played like for when we get together as a family and for like family reunions, we'll do like jam sessions.
Oh, cool.
And so she'll like kind of make a beat and stuff like that and hop in when we do stuff like that all together. But other than that, she hasn't like played with me, which is sad. I want her to, but maybe in the future.
Sure, yeah. So you started playing guitar, you said what time, like 7 or so? Oh, no, that was piano. I actually
started playing guitar. Yeah, piano when I was 6, and then guitar, I didn't start learning until I was like 18, I think.
Oh, okay, so you were writing songs on piano earlier. And that was your first experience writing, was all done on piano?
Yeah, with like an actual instrument. I would write before. I think my first song that I remember writing, I was probably like 6 or 7.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like, you know, just a little diddly. But I would write that without any instrument because I didn't really know how to write with an instrument. So I would just kind of like come up with melody in my head and just write to write. But I started like really learning how to write with an instrument after a couple of years of doing piano. It's kind of hard to switch from like classical to like pop music.
Yeah, I can
imagine.
And
like learning how to like not make it all like frilly and like floaty and just like chords wise. So it took me a while to switch my brain from like classical training to like making like cool like, you know, pop songs or whatever. But yeah, that was my first instrument I got to write with.
Do you feel that the classical stuff translates into your current music at all? Or you just kind of left it behind?
I feel like maybe not so much the sound of classical music or like the sound of, you know, the classical piano or anything like that doesn't really translate to my music, but what I learned and the feel of it, like I feel like it kind of translates because like it's a lot of like classical music that I love to play and listen to. It was a lot of like ethereal kind of floaty, like feel good, you know, kind of stuff that was more in like the minor tones in the minor realm. So like that kind of like emotional kind of like feel that I feel like piano kind of gives you, especially when you're playing like minor kind of chords and stuff like that. I feel like that definitely translates a lot in the music because we like to use a lot more like ethereal, moody kind of emotional stuff in our music for sure. Not so much with like Thickness or Mouth. Those are like the fun jams, but
but the progressions and stuff kind of translate over.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
That's really cool. You started writing songs pretty early on, and then how did you start? What was the next step for you? Did you start playing shows? Like, when did you play what was your first performance?
I think my first performance, I started performing in elementary school, just for like talent shows and stuff. I would like learn a song and like volunteer to do the talent show, and I would like perform in front of like my little school.
Yeah.
And I would just do that a lot throughout school and stuff, and just perform that way and like talent shows.
Was that scary, or did you want to get on stage and perform?
I have like a weird like emotional realm when it comes to performing on stage because I'll get so scared beforehand, like terrified. I want to run away. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Like for like a split second, I'm like, let me just call this off and tell everyone that I quit and I'm done. And then the minute I get on stage and I start singing, like all of that goes away and I'm like living my best life.
Yeah.
And afterwards, I'm like, I can't believe I just did that when 20 minutes ago, like I couldn't eat food because I was so scared.
Sure.
So it's like, it definitely gives you like a rush when I'm up there, and it's something that it's what made me want to pursue, I think, my career as an artist instead of just being a writer. Because I loved the performing aspect so much, and like connecting with people and singing my music out. You know, I love that, even though it terrifies the crap out of me still to this day.
I was gonna ask, is it still scare you when you go on stage?
For sure. I still have the same, right as I'm about to step on stage, I still get so nervous, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. I want to run away. Like, I'm terrified. I sweat. I like feel like I'm going to go crazy. And then the minute I step on, I'm like, here I am, world. Let's do this.
Yeah. Is there any like ritual, or do you do anything before the show to kind of prevent yourself from psyching yourself out?
Yeah, I talk to myself in my head a lot. Like, I'm a big into like spirituality and like affirmations and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I very much have to like self-talk myself off of the anxiety ledge.
Sure, yeah.
And just like let myself know that everything's going to be great. You've done this a million times before. You can do this. I'll like take my deep breaths and stuff like that. And sometimes if it's like a big show and everything, I don't really go into like isolation, but I kind of like block myself out from like my phone or any kind of like external things.
Like
and just kind of like, yeah, for sure. Like, I very much have to like zen myself out the whole day and just make sure that I'm like mentally prepared for it, because it's pretty much like the hardest thing is being mentally prepared for it.
For sure. So when was the first time you played your own music that you wrote live?
The first time I performed a song that I wrote myself was, I think I was in 6th grade or 7th grade.
Oh, wow.
But I had written this song, and my dad actually produced the music to it. He like did the piano to it, and I wrote over it. And we went to like his friend's studio and recorded the song. And it was my first time ever being on a microphone and like ever performing like or recording a song that I wrote and like hearing my voice like through headphones. It was such an interesting experience. And so we were there for a couple hours, and I recorded like my song, and he left the backgrounds in and everything and just took out the lead vocal for me to sing over it. And I performed it at my talent show. And there was like 400 people there.
Whoa. That's a big audience for middle school.
It was huge. When I stepped out there, I was like, oh my gosh, why are there so many people out here? This is insane. But yeah, that was the first time I performed a song that I wrote and recorded myself. I think I was about like, I don't know, 13 maybe.
How was listening back to that song the first time? You finally put down your first song, you sang it. Do you remember that moment listening to it back with your dad and stuff?
Yeah, I remember being really proud of myself for doing it, but I also remember like just listening to my voice and being like, ew, I don't like that part. Ew, I don't like this part. I don't like how I sound here. And being super critical of myself. Like, oh my gosh. It took me years to actually even like hearing myself on a record or anything like that. I used to actually I used to almost hate my voice for years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because you didn't like how it sounded? You were trying to do something else?
I don't know. I think it's because I might have just been being overcritical. But yeah, I just didn't really like my tone and everything like that. And like, I think it just took me a while to get used to hearing my voice like on record, because it's so different when you're just like playing live, you know, to yourself in your bedroom and making a song, and then you go and record it on, you know, a mic, and you hear everything so differently. So it took me a while to like really love my voice and like embrace, you know, myself and who I am. And for a long time, I wanted like a powerful voice. I listened to a lot of like Christina Aguilera and JoJo and stuff when I was like a preteen and like in my early teens. And I wanted to be able to like do those crazy riffs and like hit those super high notes and have like more of like, you know, a powerful voice, but I always had this like soft little voice. So I think maybe it was just, I took a long time for me to like really love myself and love my voice and who I am, and really, you know, find myself in my music. And that's probably why I was just like, ew, what is that?
Well, we love your voice. We think you're an amazing singer.
Thank you. I love my voice now. I'm like, I was actually talking to my boyfriend. He produces like all the music that we put out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's insanely amazing. And he co-writes with me on
That's
pretty much
awesome.
all the songs that we've done. And I was talking to him about that the other day, how now, like, I love listening to our music, and like I love playing it back, and listening to my songs, and like I love it. Like, I love my voice now, and it was like a real moment where it hit me, and I'm like, you know what, this is great. Like, I remember when I didn't like my voice, and I would cringe when I would listen back to the songs I would record. So it's awesome, now to that. I feel like loving yourself really makes a massive difference in all areas of life.
Yeah.
Especially as a creator.
I completely agree with you. Do you remember the moment when you were like, wow, I actually really like what I'm doing?
Yeah, it was like when I was in my like early 20s after I had my daughter.
Okay.
So I don't know if you know, but I'm a mom.
I didn't,
and
but I'm a dad as well,
a,
so we're all good.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, kids are amazing. They really do just like impact life so much and change you as a person for the better. And like she really did in all areas. And like after I had her, I started making different music and just really finding myself and the kind of music that I wanted to make, and writing better and everything like that. And just like diving deeper more on like an emotional side. I pretty much wrote a lot during like my pregnancy. And when I had her, I dove back into my music because I took a really long break off.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I was like working with this this producer beforehand, and we were making great music at the time. And it was music I thought, that I wanted to make, and I was writing to a lot of it, but it wasn't really me. I was like 17, and I'm like, I just want to be famous. So I'm going to do whatever's popping right now.
Right.
And it really wasn't me or my vibe or anything like that. And then we almost had a full album, like almost done.
Oh my gosh.
And then I got pregnant and dropped out of college. And when I was 20, I got pregnant and dropped out. And all the project, everything we worked out just died.
Were you going to school to pursue music?
No, I wish. My mom kind of was like, music's plan B. So you need to get a degree. Yeah, my mom's Caribbean, so it's very much in the Caribbean household. Like everyone's either a lawyer or a doctor or a nurse or, something along those lines. So yeah, so much of my family members on her side are like very prestigious. They went to school, got their degree. They have, a very set, like secure, the traditional kind of way,
Yeah.
So I went to UCF for a couple years, and at first I can't even remember what my initial major was, but I ended up changing it to psychology. I wanted to do developmental psychology and then minor in philosophy.
Oh.
And but I ended up dropping out and becoming a mom.
Yeah. You were working with a producer though when you were in college, so you were still pursuing it. You just were also going to school at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it wasn't like too like I don't think I was like really giving it 100% at the time. But we were like meeting and recording and making songs and everything like that, and just trying to find my brand and start my career.
Yeah.
But it ended up not really going anywhere, which I'm very happy about because it just wasn't me. It wasn't my brand. It wasn't, who I am now, which is more myself. And I feel like I'm really presenting my authentic, like, truth through my music and through my brand and through everything that we're putting out. And back then, when I was just 19, 18, I wasn't there yet. And I grew a lot after I had my daughter and evolved a lot and matured a lot.
Sure.
And I feel like because of her, like, she made like me find myself more and therefore find my sound. And that's when I really started to love the music I was making and my voice that I was like hearing back. So I would taught myself how to record myself so I can make music in my room when she was like asleep and everything.
Oh, wow.
And yeah.
Yeah. So after you had your daughter, that's when you were just writing and you weren't really pursuing, because you said you weren't with that producer anymore and that album kind of got scrapped, right?
Yeah, we stopped working together. I was just, focusing on my daughter at the time. And I really love music. It's my passion. It's everything to me. So I would just kind of play in my room, and I ended up getting like a little setup to record myself. So I would just write songs pretty much for myself for a couple years. And then I ended up finding, there was like one night where I was so upset. I just cried to myself because I really love music, but nothing was happening. And it just kind of seemed like I didn't know what to do or where to go or where to start. And recording myself and trying to learn how to produce was not working. And I didn't have a team or anybody at the time to help me out. So I really felt super lost. And I was just like, you know what? Like, I don't know if this is what I'm meant to do, but if it is, like, universe, God, whoever's up there, can you help me and guide me, send me a sign, or, like, you know, lead me to the right people. And probably like a month or two later, the team that I'm with now, they go by DNA Music Group, reached out to me off of Instagram, actually.
Oh, really?
Because he saw me playing a guitar cover on Instagram. And he reached out and he was like, I love your voice. You're amazing. I would love to meet with you and, like, you know, work with you and stuff like that. And at the time he had been looking for an artist to help develop. And he ended up finding me, and we didn't end up meeting until later that year. But once we did, it was like things just completely took off from there. And that was back in 2015, the end of 2015. And since then, we've been grinding and working and building, and all of this has happened and came to fruition because of that.
Wow. You're writing in your room, or you're writing at your house and stuff, and you were just putting up videos on Instagram, and then somebody contacted you from that?
Yeah.
Wow. Do you remember what song it was?
I actually can't remember which video it was. I need to ask him and see if he remembers which video that I put out. But I would just do, like, guitar covers and try to put them out as consistently as possible, because that was pretty much like my only outlet of you know, putting music out. So I would just do covers and everything. And he saw one of the covers and reached out to me and was impressed, you know, by my voice and everything. And since then, shit has been, like, just amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm so thankful for that. Thank you, Instagram.
Right. That's wild, because you'll hear about people, you know, Justin Bieber or somebody getting famous off of YouTube back in the day. And now, Instagram looks like the outlet.
Oh, yeah. Instagram's a wave.
Sure, yeah. So once they reached out to you, what happened next for you?
Once we reached out, we ended up working later that year, and we're just kind of like, hey, let's do one song and just kind of see how it goes. And we ended up writing a song together. And he had, like, you know, people working with them, like a piano player. It was, like, really fire and everything. And we made a song and ended up starting performing more, which is something that I hadn't done in years. And I was now performing with, like, a small band, which I never did before, and, like, starting to get more around Orlando. And just from then, for a couple of years, it was a lot of, like, trial and error music-wise. Still kind of trying to find the right sound and the right vibe for, like, my brand and everything, and just building me overall. It was very much like artist development for a while.
Yeah.
And performing a lot and just, like, getting better with that. And then I had met my boyfriend now. I met him in 2018. And the guy that I work with, my team, he goes by Tony, but it's DNA Music Group. But Tony called G Bliss, who's my boyfriend now, and he brought him in the studio, and he just, like, Tony just told me, he's like, look, we're going to meet this new producer. He's super dope. He's really fire, like, extremely talented on guitar, and I know that's the vibe you want. So we're going to bring him in and just work on a couple songs. And I was like, cool. And I didn't know anything about him. Like, I didn't know any of his, like, accolades or who he's worked with before or anything. And we get in the studio, and in 2 days we wrote Lost and Mouse. Wow. And those ended up being the first two songs that we actually put out. And before then, we had not put out any music. So for 3 years, we didn't release anything. We were just building and everything like that. And then so you got in the studio. Yeah.
Wow. So for 3 years, they were just developing you as an artist, and you hadn't put any music out?
Yep. Nope. No music. We're just developing, performed and stuff like that. We would perform unreleased music and covers and everything like that, but we didn't put anything out. And we were just building and growing and just trying to get as much music as possible till we found, like, what we really liked. And as soon as Bliss got in the studio with me, it's like, okay, we found my sound. And like, it was just amazing what happened those 2 days and what we were able to create. And now he's a part of, you know, our squad and our team, and me, Tony, and my boyfriend really work very close together on everything. And every song that, you know, we build together, and it's just amazing how that one session like just changed everything. It really did. It was crazy.
Yeah. So your boyfriend was pulled in as a producer, and it just gelled perfectly with you guys, and you were able to put out 2 songs in one day.
Yeah, we wrote the 2 songs in 2 days, I think, of doing the session. So we wrote Lost the first day and Mouth the second day. And yeah, we ended up putting those out. I think Lost came out 4 or 5 months after we made it. And then Mouth came out a few months later. And like the response from that was insane.
So it just threw them up on Spotify or something?
Yeah, we ended up putting them out on Spotify and promoting it and everything like that. And yeah, it was crazy because it was the first time I had, as an artist and personally as an artist, I'd never ever put music out before. And so it was like the first time releasing something officially and getting that feedback. And it was incredible, like so incredible. And it happened. The reason why, like, it came so easily and like fluid, you know, was the chemistry was just like so insane in that room with everybody. We were just like all excited and hyped up and on the same page, and we all had the same vibe and influences. So it flowed so beautifully, and like, yeah. And every session since then has flowed just amazing as well.
That's great. And did you guys, what were those first shows like where were you guys playing? Just around Orlando?
Yeah, the first shows we were just playing in the local area. There's this place called Soundbar in downtown Orlando. They really like are great for independent artists and local artists in the area, and they've done a lot of different like showcases and things available for local artists to perform at. So we perform there a lot, and just in other different venues around the area. But especially in the beginning, that was like the spot that we performed at a lot, was in downtown in that little Soundbar area.
Are you still playing there at all?
I haven't in a long time. We've kind of taken a break on performances for a bit.
Okay.
Just because we've been really in the studio trying to finish, you know, any song that we have that's kind of like halfway done or anything like that. Because we want to put out like a lot more content this year and hopefully have a project done and ready to go out by the end of the year, because I really feel like this is the year for an EP, you know?
Yeah. So you do have an EP coming out soon, hopefully this year.
Yes, we're all really hoping and striving for the end of the year to put out an EP, even if it's just like a small project. I think we're all kind of on that wave of doing that. We just want to still build as much as possible, you know, and like have a good solid like fan base to be able to release a project to.
Totally.
So that's kind of like where we're at right now. It's just like trying to build and grow as much as possible and like really have a good audience, so that when we do release like a body of work, that it's not just going to like a couple thousand people, you know, like it's like really hitting like a good crowd.
Sure. Yeah. So after you guys put out Mouth and Lost, was the next track was that Thickness? Was that your next release? Or tell me about when you put that one out.
What was the next release after that? I think the next one was Front Seat, actually. It was because we had met right after Mouth came out. We met in the studio again, all of us, and we made Front Seat. And yeah, Front Seat came out early 2019. And that was the third one, and then it was Thickness was after Front Seat.
Okay, and Thickness was huge for you, right? That's when it that song got really big.
Yeah, that song is what really, I think Front Seat really like helped a lot. It really like, I feel like Front Seat and Thickness together gave us like a massive like push, because Front Seat, when it got the Billboard.com like exclusive.
Yeah.
So it was premiered on Billboard.com, and that was like freaking crazy.
Tell me about that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like I screamed.
I bet.
I screamed,
wow.
And like was losing it when I got the news that it was going to be featured on Billboard.com. It was just immensely just insane moment of my life. Like such a pivotal like achievement, and it still is just like something I'll never forget. And that really did like set a lot in motion for when we did release Thickness to like give Thickness an even bigger push. because like Thickness was premiered on Wonderland, which is also a very big like publication for artists and stuff. But it was the first song that got on a major Spotify playlist with Thickness. So that was like a huge also achievement for us, and like it really like took off and everything. So that was like crazy.
Spotify's Fresh Finds playlist, that's huge.
So cool.
I want to go back to the Billboard thing for a second. Do you remember calling your uncle and your dad and telling them that your song was going to be premiered in Billboard?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I think my dad was one of the first people that I called to tell about, because he's like my number one supporter. He's always been my number one fan, number one supporter from the time I was 3 years old singing Disney songs around in the living room.
Sure.
So I called him like immediately and told him what was going on, and like he was just so proud of me. Like my dad's so cute and like emotional and stuff. So like he like teared up and everything. He's like, I'm so proud of you. I always knew, you know, you're gonna be something big in music, and it's just such a blessing. And it was an amazing moment to talk to my dad about that.
Yeah.
And to hear him, it was so special. Like something I will never, ever, ever forget. Like telling my dad was like such a pivotal moment. Especially
with not only are you his daughter, but being a musician himself and playing throughout his life. That's such a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, it was awesome. It's amazing to make him proud, especially when it comes to music.
Totally, yeah. So tell me about the latest single that you just put out.
Hourglass actually is a sound. We premiered it on SoundCloud.
Oh.
And because we got SoundCloud Artists To Watch? Yeah, Artists To Watch.
Yeah, Artists To Watch. I saw that. How did that happen?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I got an email once from one of the women that work in artist relations. She goes by Erica. She's incredible, such a wonderful woman. And SoundCloud is just they reached out and loved the music. They heard Good to Be Bad, actually.
Oh, really?
They loved the song, and I guess ended up listening to some of the other stuff that we've been doing and really wanted to support what we're doing. They loved my sound and me as an artist, and really genuinely felt like we needed more exposure. And she reached out just to hear more about what we've got going on, you know? And after talking to my team and everything like that, she like genuinely just wanted to help and see us succeed. And she's like, I love your stuff. I want to make you one of our artists to watch. And it was just like, again, screaming. I was like, this is insane. It's just so amazing. Like the amazing support that we've received from SoundCloud. It's just been like incredible and insane. And it happened in a very short time. It was actually relatively recent that all of this happened. So when we found out we were getting artists to watch, we're like, let's do an exclusive for SoundCloud only and drop a new song. And we ended up putting them together, and it's one of my favorite songs that like we've ever done. So I was like super honored to do that, and like just super thankful for SoundCloud. So we want to do something special and like release a special release, you know, that's just on SoundCloud for right now. We might put it on other platforms later, but we want it to be like a nice like exclusive for them, and just super thankful for everything and all the support that SoundCloud has like given, you know, in music lately, and it's all because of Good to Be Bad.
Wow. What was why do you say that song was the song that you put out on SoundCloud was your favorite? You said that's your favorite song you've ever written?
It's one of my favorites. Yeah. There's like a few that really hold something special in my heart. I guess they all do, but there's a couple that like I really, really love. And I think this one is one of my favorites because the way that it happened was like super organically, and like, you know, sometimes like as a writer, like I just kind of like as a writer, we just kind of channel things sometimes. And then other times it's like you sit, you write, you take your time. You kind of have to think about it a little bit more. But when we made this song, like it was actually in like a writing camp, like an impromptu like writing camp thing that we did in Miami it was me and my boyfriend and a couple of our friends that are extremely creative people. And I was actually going down there to take photo shoots with my friend Joe, who's an amazing photographer. And we just did a bunch of different shoots to have content. And they were making music. So my boyfriend, T. Bliz, he did a track with this other producer named Rosa. and it's the Hourglass track. And I came in and I was hearing this. I'm like, this is beautiful. Like, I'm obsessed with this track. It was so ethereal, so vibey. And I'm like, I need to be on this. I was like, can I write something to it? And they're like, yeah, we're going to finish producing it. And so as they were finishing producing it, the lyrics just like flew out of my brain. Wow. And I pretty much had like the first verse and the chorus and the second verse like done in like 20, 30 minutes. Wow. I was like, can I just lay down what I wrote so we have it down? And I went and I recorded it, and everyone looked at me. They're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. How did you do that? Blah, blah, blah. And like, usually you have to make edits or be like, oh, let's change this here, change that there. And we didn't make any edits. Everything just like came out so beautifully and like so perfectly. And I was like super proud of it because it's just a very nice, like feelsy song and very like R&B, which is something that, it's like, R&B music is like a staple for me growing up and everything. And I feel like a lot of our songs are a little more in like the pop realm, which is also, you know, a staple of mine. But it was nice to go like a little more in the R&B lane for this track, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, because so that's what really your dad played and your uncle played. They're all in R&B, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Aside from your family members, who do you think have been or are your greatest advocates in your music career right now?
I would definitely have to say my team, for sure. Tony and everybody. I would not be even close to where I am now without them and their support, and really sticking with me through that. And my grandma, she's like super, super supportive from the beginning. She's always been very supportive of me, and she's like my best friend and has been like my best friend since I was little. I love that lady. So she's always been like very much, you know, follow your dreams, don't give up, don't stop for anybody. Like you can do this, and has always been like super supportive of that as well. And like I have a few friends that, you know, have supported me and stuff through the way, but I would definitely have to say like above all, like my team and my family have been the biggest advocates, the biggest supporters. Like throughout the years, and have never wavered on their support for sure.
That's great. Yeah, that's great that you have a team of people around you like that.
Yeah, I'm so thankful for the support system that I have because not everybody, you know, has that.
Right. Yeah, that's very true. And even after you said that your parents wanted you to go to school, and then it didn't work out for you that way, and now you're doing music and killing it. So that's really cool that they've been around, supporting you the whole time.
Yeah, for sure. Even though, like, I know my mom, like, she always loved my music and was so proud of me, but she didn't know that it could grow into what it is now.
Yeah.
And especially after the past few years and, like, her really, like, hearing the music that's been coming out and seeing the growth, she's, like, so, so proud and, like, so supportive. And, like, every single time she's like, did you make a new song? Do you have any new music that I can listen to? And it's just so awesome because, you know, she always believed in me, but she didn't know that it could grow into this or actually become something that's sustainable, which is totally understandable. You know, she just wants her kids to be set up and well off and everything.
Right. Yeah. But she probably just didn't assume, like, I mean, anyone that's not in the music industry would probably be like, wait, you want to be a singer? Like, how are you going to be able to afford to eat? And, you're going to be a struggling artist forever. And now look at you. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
Well, so you said you have an EP. You'll have an EP hopefully this year. That's the plan?
I'm hoping. I've been wanting to release like a project forever, my whole life. So whenever I do put out a small project, even, I'm hoping that it's the end of this year because we have a lot of material, like a lot of songs that we have created and a lot of great songs that I really can't wait to put out there and for like the world to hear and everything. So I'm really hoping because it's something that I've been wanting for a long time. And I can't wait for that. Like I really have like a feeling that things are really going to take off after we drop a small project or put something out. Like I just have this feeling in my chest. So I'm all about waiting for the right time and stuff like that. But I'm excited. I'm ready.
Yeah, totally. Have you done any touring yet?
No, not yet. Oh, gosh, I can't wait for that too. Oh my goodness.
Excited.
No, not yet. We've talked about trying to do like a small like Florida tour to start off with or something like that. But I really do feel like that's kind of what will come along next with putting out like a project.
Yeah, after the EP comes out.
Yeah, like do like a small tour or try and get on someone else's tour or something, or open up for someone. So I think that's definitely in the cards for the future. I'm so stoked for that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I have one more question for you, if that's cool. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
I think biggest advice for aspiring artists is just to never give up. Don't stop, especially if this is something that sets your soul on fire and really, really, wakes you up in the morning, and it's something that is a passion no matter what. Don't ever, ever give up, because you never know what's going to happen. And just keep sharing your gift, whether it's on Instagram or SoundCloud or YouTube or anything like that. Just keep sharing it with the world. There's so many different avenues now to be able to get your voice out there. And I think that's super important, is just to keep going, because if you're meant to do this, and if this is something that's like meant to be, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of you continuing and staying strong and just keep going. That's the biggest thing, is to keep going and never stop evolving and growing and, harnessing your art and your ability, because the world needs it. Especially if you're meant to succeed in music, the world needs to hear your music. So just keep pushing going.
Bringing it backward.